Hey everyone, it's Gina. This is Seer Sessions. Today I'm sharing another session that I did where I was the client. Soulful Stephanie is the hypnotist. The intention for this journey was to experience another lifetime that would help me get more clarity on the idea of the collective consciousness, our role within it, when to lean into it, when to peel away from it. And it really is kind of an extension of the episode 2 episodes ago, where I had set the intention to experience another lifetime that would help me just understand consciousness. And it's the same thing. I know that no one has the capital A answers. I am just personally looking for comprehension to help me understand these energies and then how to transmute them, direct them. In this session, I went right back to the red planet. We cover so many things that have to do with just energy management, showing up in the collective, showing up for the collective. And I also get some clarity and understanding just about my soul's history on the red planet, why there's a council there, how they manage the collective, how they do this through energy, through emotion. We also spoke a lot about the influence of being a human and what that means. We talk about legacy, how we become wise. We talk about low vibe people. So here's the thing. Everything is energy, and all energy is in motion. My default setting, the mindset I'm at, influences and creates the frequency at which I vibrate. But the way I say it and the way I mean it is more just people, humans who are either caught in an emotional spin or spiral that brings them to a lower state, just more what we would call negative emotions versus more elevated frequencies like peace, love, joy, gratitude. So in it, one of the questions we asked was like, do we have to deal with low vibe situations or people? And the answer was pretty long. But you know what? The answer, I think, it's good. It's good to be discerning. It's good to understand this. And it's not just an automatic, if someone's got a bad vibe, you avoid them. I mean, maybe sometimes, but we go into kind of the nuance and some things to think about before we cut someone off or stop engaging in a certain part of our life because of that. One of the things that I'll be exploring more of in the future is this idea of hierarchical language. And a lot of the information, when it's given to me from the red planet, it's given to me in metaphor. And I think that's just because I have an earth suit with a human brain, the capacity at which I can understand certain things is pretty limited. And so in this 3D world, to use words like higher self, higher consciousness, more expanded awareness, all of that I think can come off as like hierarchical and kind of judgy and like we're up here and they're down there. And I will someday have better words for it. But in the meantime, I just want to be really clear that I don't think that there is bad or good. I think that the universe just is. Creation just creates. And it's a part of a conscious evolution when we say, I'm going to take this creative energy and I'm going to make something good with it. We live in a world that is relative. In order to know tall, I need to know short. In order to know hot, I need to know cold. That's the world we live in. So even if I say, oh, this person has a higher frequency than that other person, I personally am not judging either one of them as better or worse than the other ones. I might, depending on why I'm engaging with these people, might have different reasons for engaging with them or have different ways to engage with them because of that. But it's not a personal judgment against them. And so I want to be very clear that I am not making that judgment. I am not seeing myself as better than anyone who's on any other part of the path. I think that we are all doing it. It's all happening at once. We are all everything. We have been everything. We will be everything. And so when I use terms like higher, better, more expanded, more loving, what I'm talking about is what I want, the values I have in my life. That is the relativity. If I am using like one is better than the other, it's more so one is more in alignment with where I'm going personally. And so as I get that information, I'm sharing it with you, and you can take that, reflect, put it through your own processing process, and hopefully it benefits in your life in some way. If you want to watch the video of this session, click the link in the show notes. Okay, let's get into it. In this session, I am back on the red planet, exploring the collective consciousness and our role in it as an individual.
A lifetime you're meant to experience today, one that will help you understand collective consciousness and the individual's role in it even more. 1. Opening the door. 2. Crossing the threshold. And 3. Stepping firmly into a memory from another lifetime. Whenever you're ready, just let me know what you're aware of.
I'm back on the red planet. I'm in that tent structure, and my mind as Gina is just like, I can't keep going back here. Is this going to be boring? But then my next question was, what is this structure? So here it's just me and one other person on this council, and this person, I've I've had a lot of contact with before. His name's Baron. And I'm trying to learn, what is this space? What is this council? Is this council working for, if I'm going to keep coming back here, I'm just trying to get like a lay of the land. Like, what is this thing?
Mm-hmm.
And the tent thing, yeah, weird. So it's like a mixture of materials from the planet that whoever built these structures is from. So like the ancestors or the people further up on the lineage of these people. And so it's the structure, it's not like a tent and it's not like a grass hut, but it is like a mud. It's almost like a mud, but when it dries, it almost looks like stone, but it's very big. It's circular. And this is where the council meets. And the council is for the people on this planet. Every time I'm on a red planet, it's kind of the same. And I'm sure people have better words for this, but they're studying the land. I don't think they're taking minerals, but there's some kind of study going on. But the principles that this council live by are principles that they share across the universe somehow. But this council, whatever work they're doing on this planet is really important. And because of the close quarters of this community and the fact that there's not a lot to do and there's only so many supplies, disaster could happen really quick and wipe everybody out. That's why they have a whole council there to manage things. And in that, they use it as a study of, okay, well, we have all these people here. I'm getting the number like 200 people there working, doing whatever it is that they're doing. But this council, they're the elders from maybe governing or community leaders from whatever planet they came from, but they come here because it's so important, the work they're doing, and it's so important that people stay in harmony, in peace with each other, with other people. It's almost like this really, really highly concentrated area of energy, and so they have to put a lot of focus on that, but they don't see it as a waste because they're using it as study. So any problem that humans are going to have, it's going to show up in this community, but it's going to be more extreme, or the damages that could be done with it are just so much more catastrophic because there aren't really any resources. So everything's really rationed. And to keep the peace, not only do they deserve that, but then it's like the work they're trying to do, the mission they're trying to fulfill will actually get fulfilled or continue to get fulfilled. And then they take what they learned from this group and they implement, if there's any new understandings or perspectives or ways to guide a community member that has gotten out of alignment with the morals and ethics of this community. So they're there not policing, but ushering in a harmonious way. And these 7 people on this council, very smart, wise people. For 200 people, they don't see it as a waste because the work they're doing is important, and everything they learn in this group helps them with society on the planet that they come from.
And you said there was 7 people on the council?
Yeah,
Are
yeah,
they all from the same planet?
yeah, yes. Yeah, everyone here is all from the same planet.
So how do you feel like you fit in on this planet with this community? Maybe you can gain insight on your role or some gifts or abilities you have?
Okay, so in our last session, that facet of my soul is actually a community member or a community member, yes, and also a council member. But my soul has been incarnating to that planet, whether it's the original planet they're from or this red planet. My soul has incarnated in a few different versions along the lineage of whoever it is that works here. So, the first time I ever experienced it, I had this dream, maybe 2015, where I was missing Earth, but I was on this other planet, and it was similar to Earth, but way more treacherous. And that's the planet all these people come from. And in this dream, I was there helping people. I was oh, I was there helping people. I was an elder, and that's all I remember, just missing Earth and enjoying this planet because it was similar to Earth. And then in hypnosis, saw an earlier part of that life where I was on this planet. And I was one of the first people on this planet and just kind of deciding whatever it is that they're mining. I don't think it's an extraction, though. It's almost like they're using it without extracting from it. So I've incarnated on different lifetimes, and even the sessions that I shared on past lives in the divine, that was ancestors or like people working in this lineage on this planet, this red planet from that other treacherous planet, I guess.
And in this experience, are you witnessing a life unfold or are you gaining insights about your past experiences through insights or messages?
Yes, the latter. When you asked that question, what's my relationship? He was Baron, this man on the council with me, was showing that it's all related. And according to them on that planet right now in this situation, that would have been their past,
Mm.
all the lifetimes that I experienced there.
And so, what is their planet like? If Baron can share a little bit about that, or even this red planet, like what makes it what it is?
Well, he's reminding me that it has something to do with the health of people. It's energetic though.
Why is this place showing up in relation to healing, evolution, or expansion of consciousness?
Okay. So before I really knew about this council, when I had just experienced a few lives on this planet, the way I described how they went about life was like managing their energy was a priority. Today on Earth, somewhere in America, some boss is screaming at people about something. And that explosion of anger creates such a negative influence all around.
Mm,
Everyone can feel it, and it ripples out into gossip, low motivation, maybe increasing someone's depression. You can see how that could ripple out. And so on this planet, we don't see it. So some of us look at someone like that and think, wow, they are very childish and out of control. And other people look at someone like that and they say, wow, they're really powerful. And that's how you lead,
mm.
making people afraid of you. And in this moment, I can so clearly see how it's kinda crude, but what they keep showing me, an explosion of emotion on other people, even if you think they deserve it, it's like taking a shit on their lap.
Mhm.
It's that big of
Yeah.
a what the fuck, because they revere the energetics of a human. They truly live with the beliefs that we are spiritual beings, energetic beings having this experience, whatever it is, and our vibration influences everything. They know that, and that's how they live. And so the way Gina always saw it was kind of like energy management. Like, yes, there are things as the community can help with their emotions or their emotional outbursts or whatever, but it's also up to the individual to do some of that work too. Like it's individual and it's community. And striking that balance, you really can only do it when you're working with consciousness and how are people energetically? Like, how are they emotionally? How are they? Yeah, they really get and they really see and honor that when they're very humanoid, I mean, they look just like us. At least that's the way it's presented to me. But it's like this, yeah, it's like they are so attuned to the subtleties. And that is awareness. That's expansive awareness. That's a higher consciousness to be able to pick up on those subtleties. That is where it begins. And people in this world write it off as too small or invisible, so it doesn't count, or we can't measure it with our science tools, so it doesn't count. They just don't discount it.
Hmm.
And so all of their like motivating their people, and it's not even motivating them. It's like getting them emotionally balanced because someone with a body and a soul wants to create. We are creation. That's what the soul is. And so they know that by just maintaining peace and harmony and giving people opportunities, these people will naturally do their best, be joyful while they're doing it, help other people be able to receive help. Even that, being able to receive help here is like, oh, you're, so stoic and wonderful and whatever. But there, they'll notice, like, if you're taking too much, they will say something. If you are not taking enough, they will say something because people all need to be nourished energetically. And they're saying that I think of it as like an energy thing. And they're saying, but that energy is your consciousness. So it's almost like on this planet, people either think community or they think the individual or the individual's family or whatever. And they're saying both is true. And in order to know and be able to hold the truth that both are true, the individual is important and the greater community collective is important. You have to have an expanded awareness. And sometimes you can be born into that. That's what this society is. But for us on earth, the way we can get there is oftentimes we find ourselves acting in a way where it's like, shit, if I saw someone else doing this, I'd be judging them. And again, most of the time, someone in this country at least will just not want to even look at it. And so they'll run away from it, not even look at it. And what they're saying is, it's like you have to look at that stuff. It's uncomfortable, but you have to look at that stuff. That's why being always so distracted and so consuming TV, social media, food, all the shopping, all the things, it's all such a distraction because what we should be doing is kind of reflecting on these binary beliefs that we have and this inability to accept other people. Because when we sink in and we expand our awareness and our consciousness, that's the way to become wise. We become wise when we fuck up and then reflect, pause, process it, and then we can share. We can use that wisdom for ourselves, but we can share it with other people. But people don't do that here. It's silly, borderline lazy if you're letting in repose for any amount of time. And that's what is needed. It's why we don't have elders really. It's because these people are still grinding. Their values are just different. And then it comes down to balancing the consciousness. But I always saw it as balancing the energy.
And from their perspective, are they able to show you what a collective conscious looks or feels like from their own perspective or experiences?
Yeah, I mean, they keep showing me, like, farting and pooping examples. It's like, "Okay, we got anything else? God." I mean, I guess I'll just say it. If you think of consciousness as the air we breathe,
Mhm.
best case scenario, we don't notice it. If you're noticing it, it's probably not good. I mean, maybe if there's a nice scent in the air, that's good. But if you think about group consciousness in the sense of like a group of people standing in one room, you can feel that. As a kid, it was pretty easy for me to walk into a classroom or walk into my house and I could immediately tell you what the adult in charge, what they're thinking, what their mood is, what they're gonna put up with, and what they're not gonna put up with today. And, an unrefined mind is not consistent, and these are very unrefined minds that I grew up around, and, mine is still unrefined on a lot of levels. But you can feel that, and it's not just about it's about even that teacher or that person not knowing how much influence they have. They don't understand how much people can feel their energy, but we all discount it. That's your imagination. No, I'm not feeling that way, but you can feel it.
Mhm.
And so it's on a collective level. It's like when people go on a spiritual retreat and everyone's like on vacation, they're relax because they don't have to preface, "I had this weird dream. I know this sounds weird," but they're relaxed and you can feel it. It's just, like, so easy to get along with, right? Inevitably, in any retreat scenario, there's always a person or 2 where it's like, "Why are you here? You seem like you hate it." You know what I mean? Even them, though, it's so easy to show those people love because they are such a small percentage of the collective because all of us are at vibrating at such a high frequency of love and joy and relief because we know you can be free in this space and you can relax in this space and you can hear other people's weird stories in this space. That is such that's how it but one bad apple in that situation when everyone's vibing super high, it doesn't really make a difference. But if you don't understand your energy and how it affects other people than to be like the teacher in the front of the room. It's the vibes we feel from other people. That's a part of the consciousness. And so it sounds so stupid to be like, everybody needs to be high vibe. but for real. And and that doesn't look any sort of way. I used to be reminded all the time of my failures and how I fuck things up. And I would always be thinking about it and always be worried about how I was going to fuck something up in the future, and I don't deserve to feel that way, no one does, but at the end of the day, it pulls my vibration down, it exhausts me, it makes everything harder, it makes me dread even more things because I am exhausted and everything's harder, where when I alone am in a good mood and not dreading things and I'm trusting myself and I'm seeing the good around me, that's way better for me to be in and to create in and to love in and to be in community in. And that's just on a single person. And now you can extrapolate that out. What if every room you walked into had people who were just kind of naturally vibrating at a level of peace, love, joy, gratitude? Our fucking worlds would change. And then we could get, the media to stop telling us about how awful it is and how divisive it is. That's hypnotic suggestions too. But that's kind of how they're saying like the collective consciousness. It's those vibes that you feel from people. It seems like nothing, but that's why we love vacation. That's why you meet friends on vacation because everyone's vibing high and it's cool and everyone's in a good mood. And so it's not quit your job so you can be high vibe or whatever. Everyone's got their shit, but it's just like, what can you do to inhabit a more peaceful, loving, optimistic state? And that's really all you can control. And our influence is our greatest legacy.
Hmm.
It's how we make people feel, and that's not new, like, sentiment is not new, it's said a lot, but even that we discount, too small, doesn't matter. Yeah, I know my legacy is just my influence or the memories people have of me, but I need this hospital wing named after me or this
Mhm.
mountain named after me or whatever. The difference between them and us is their, willingness to see that as valuable and see that as a way in which to lead when thinking about how to lead, how to be.
Yeah. And is there any way to control the way these things influence us as individuals?
So the visual I get is like these glasses being like fixed on your face. Yep, you just have to adjust these. And it's more a metaphor, but it's like um oh, okay, so consciousness, your awareness, same thing. So more what you're more aware of, you're more conscious of. But oh man, this is like I'm just barely getting it. But that human filter that we've talked about, they're saying your perspective is your filter, and your perspective is where you meet everything you're aware of. So you're aware of everything around you, but you can't possibly process consciously all that stimuli. So our brains, science has proven this, are always whittling down kind of what do I need to focus on? And what directs what do I need to focus on is your perspective. It's your human filter. It's your memories. It's your life experience. It's what you are hoping for. It's what you're working toward. It's what you're not working toward. It's all of these things make up your perspective. So, so it's about choosing your perspective and knowing when your perspective is limiting you. And so it's not that you can't be around low vibe people. It's just you might have to work a little harder to stay in a higher frequency of emotion. That's not bad, especially if it seems worth it. That's amazing. That's like great for you. It's great for them. It's great for the collective because of that influence.
Hmm.
So I'm getting a little bit more. So with perspective, if you can just know when you're kind of bumping into your own perspective that's warping something to the negative, and I'm not talking about spiritual bypassing. I'm talking about, and I can't imagine I'm the only person who feels this way, but there's so much. I always thought this world was like evil, everybody's out for themselves, and it's awful out there. And yeah, it can be, but it can also be wonderful. So it takes a wise mind to say, I'm going to choose to see the good, but I
Hmm.
got my eyes open to all of it. And so your perspective is where you meet your consciousness and you can change that. And so say you're, oh my God, this example keeps coming to my head and it's like so embarrassing to even say out loud. I will never say this on the podcast. Never. Give me a new example. Oh my God, we'll deal with this later. Um, yeah, so it's about like choosing your perspective. And if you choose to assume the good
Hmm.
or something that could be that you really want, but you're nervous that it won't work out, if it doesn't work out, if you have an expanded awareness, you will be able to learn from it. You'll learn from it from yourself. You'll be able to deal with the heartbreak and you'll have the community of people who will help hold the flame of who you are and how loved you actually are, even when your heart gets broke. That's what that community does. And that's what they're telling me that on earth. An example of our consciousness being expanded is when you hear people talk, I want more community. I want more community. That's a part of expanding your consciousness because you're willing to deal with other people's bullshit for whatever it is that we get from these people
Yeah.
in community. Yeah, which is like someone to help, someone to receive help from, someone to just do life beside, someone to touch in on a project with and share a laugh or whatever. It's a way to even be around people who are so different than you if you know at the heart of the community is like an activity that draws different people. So it's about your perspective, and your perspective is where you meet it, and you choose your perspective, and inevitably when some shit doesn't work out, you know you can trust yourself, you know you'll learn from it, and you do, and you integrate it, and your community is there loving you through it, reminding you that you're a good person and you'll get through this when you don't think so. And that's and it's not that everyone in your community needs to be that for you, it's just that as a part of your community, that would be some of it. And so we're learning how to manage that on our own. And that's kind of like us stepping toward enhancing the collective. So not just in these individual communities that we're being drawn toward, but we naturally, it's almost like you go drink from that well of, say, a spiritual community like kinship. Everything we talked about, everything we learned on those journeys and shared with each other, I was changed by your stories. And that changed the way I showed up, and other people learned and benefited from that. And I know that you all are the same. And so even it's not bad to have kind of an echo chamber, people all the same in certain communities. It's like good to have those different pockets, but it's also knowing that that is an expansion,
Yeah.
just to even think community.
And with that in mind, that we are able to choose our perspective and that's our filter, is there any value in being around low vibe energy or people?
Oh God, this is such a good question. So it goes back to that word influence. It's not that we should avoid these people, right? Because a lot of these people who are very fearful, closed down, not community minded, that's a consciousness and awareness that needs to be expanded. And so the way, you get one side of the spectrum that's like all about community, one side's all about family and stuff like that. It's not that one side is contracted and one side expanded. That's absolutely not true. There's both on each side. But even just taking that idea of like individual versus community, it's there whether we want it or not. So we can come to the conclusion like, oh, this person is actually bad for my mental health. This person pulls me down. Really, what that is I don't have the skills to lift myself out of this. And so I am not going to be here until I have the skills to lift myself out of this vibration. And it's such an individual thing. And just because you made one decision in one part of your life to maybe cut someone out or kind of leave a situation, it doesn't mean that every situation in the future that's similar to it, you're going to do the same thing. So it's not that easy. Having an expanded awareness, it feels like wisdom to us. It's someone who can see all the options, see it all, choose one that might be wrong because we don't know, we can't tell the future, and stand in conviction with it, or give advice and not be attached to the results. So we always have to manage our energy, but it's not just an automatic, they're low vibe, they're out of my life. It's like, no, what is this connection? Who is this person to you? What were you hoping you'd get out of it? What could you get out of it? Had we had this conversation with them? And it's about getting to the heart of it, but when do you cut them off is my this is all beautiful. But I'm like, when do you cut a bitch off? When is enough enough? So let me wait for that answer. Ugh, okay, so even there, he's like, only you can decide. Only you can decide. And that's the scary thing. Anytime you're looking outside of you for, is this right for me? It's not that that's never a thing we do. We naturally seek external validation, but we need to pull ourselves inward. In every situation, you have to go, why am I here? What is this worth? Who is this person to me? What's the history? Does that mean anything? Where am I going? Could I take them with me? Do they want to go with me? Do they want to change? Do they like me? Do they want to keep going with me? It sounds so tedious and annoying, but it's like on an individual basis.
Yeah.
Okay, so but what they're saying is like when you first start thinking like this, create a higher frequency of energy around you. If you have a lot of people who have drug you down in those situations, it is painful. That's why awakening is painful because we often see, oh, we've been doing it wrong, which is why we awaken because we're in
Mm.
pain because we're doing it wrong and or out of alignment with what we truly want. And so it's kind of like it's annoying. It's annoying,
Yeah.
but it's on a case by case basis, and you just have to figure that out. But to automatically be like this person's slow vibe is it's just not what you would do if you were truly expanding your awareness.
Yeah.
Even if it's a not now, it might be a not right now. There's always an opening. There's always a softness to it while still protecting ourselves.
And while you're on this planet with this community, are you able to tune into the energy of this place or community and understand the influence that that consciousness has for you when you visit or connect with it?
Like me personally in my personal life.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I guess the shortest way to say it is that it helps me remember because I've had lifetimes in this community, in this lineage of thought and energy management or consciousness management. It comes natural, more natural to me. But in this life, as because that is a very different way from the way we do things here, like I just said, with the like people yelling at each other
Mhm.
and stuff like that. I guess that was always a real source of pain for me. Yes, I'm sensitive, so these things maybe hurt a little more than they do other people, but still, even if it's not hurting other people, it's hurting the collective. And so it's almost like a part of me knows that. I think a lot of us, if we just got quiet, it'd be like, yeah, that feels true. And so they're saying, I'm sensitive, I have this history, so I was just naturally seeking that out. Oh, and all of my learning comes through relationships,
Hmm.
and it's so exhausting and annoying, and they're like, "That's it's like the chicken or the egg." Well, what is the most intimate, smallest community outside the individual? One other
Yeah.
person, whether you're in deep, close family with or deep, close romantic love with, even deep, close friendship. Well, this okay, so they're showing me a few they're showing me some memories about I there's a part of me that has lived all those lives over there, and I take that in my knowing, but not consciously, and that influences how I show up in relationship. So being in it helps me remember. It also helps me understand that because when I can understand why I'm experiencing friction at this point on my journey, I can see it. And then instead of just feeling frustration, I feel love for myself because I like that part of myself.
Mhm.
So it will create friction in those situations.
Yeah. And would you say that for Gina, that would be one of the gifts that she has here? Kind of be outside of the norm and help others highlight that it's okay to do things the way that they feel called to?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, he's saying it goes back to that word influence.
Mhm.
And so it's not only true for Gina, but it's true for all of us where when we see the sweet, kind, loving, harmonizing influence that we have, it's important that we keep doing that and we keep sharing it and we find more people to share with it because we influence yeah, it goes back to yeah, it just goes back to like influence. We're always influencing.
Mhm.
We're always being influenced,
Yeah.
both, like on both ends.
What else can you know as Gina about the gifts and soul knowledge that you came here to remember and share?
Okay, well, I'll say this because I feel like it's kind of jamming up the pipeline. But so for everyone, it's like that's what it is to use your gifts is to understand who you are,
Mm.
who you want to be, and be even more of that. Like, what's the highest and greatest version of you? And just be that. And in that, you'll be like, oh, I'm really good at that. Or, oh, people are really attracted to me for this. Or, oh, I'm really good at, doing this thing.
Yeah.
And then when we are doing that and we're being in our gifts, we have to trust it and believe it because we often can't see it.
Mhm.
And so for Gina, understanding more of this part of her will help her not only love herself when she encounters friction in the world because of it, but to know this part of her allows her to understand more, which she's doing, but also be even more of it, louder. intentionally
Mhm.
because she knows. And then other people can be like, "Oh, what's my version of that?"
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, cool.
And are there any last messages?
Well, speaking of being myself, I was just sharing some apprehensions I had of, like, is this boring? Is this boring for people to listen to? And he laughed and was like, "It's everything. To some people, it's so boring and repulsive, and to some people, it gives them life.
Mhm.
And to you, Gina, it's fun, and you're learning and becoming more of who you came here to be through it.
Yeah.
And so what else matters?"
Yep.
Okay, I'll put that on repeat. I'll splice that out, put it on repeat, play it in my ears every day.
Amazing. Taking a moment to send love and gratitude to Baron and all that shared this journey with you today. And I'm going to count from 5 to 1. And when I reach 1, you can open your eyes, taking all of that beautiful wisdom with you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.